Greetings. In this video, I'm going to show my trick to beating an 1800 ELO robot. I'm at chess.com battling one of their Halloween bots right at 1800. And this simple mindset is what I always use for 1800, 2000, 2300, 2400, because I know that I'm not going to be able to, line up my rooks on the 7th rank and early on in the game, stuff like that. 1800 isn't going to allow me to do that. I'm not a good enough player. So for me, 1800 is a difficult bot, but with this simple mindset, I can beat them an 1800 nearly every time. And so I'm going to share that with you all, and I'm going to get to it right now. And so again, in the opening, I'm just trying to control the center and develop your minor pieces, then followed by your major. So usually when I'm battling in 1800, I play pretty clean chess. I don't go for anything aggressive. The 1800 bots won't let me do it. So here is the Lopez opening. And so right off the bat, my opponent has double stacked pawns. I like that. Now, the D file is semi-opened, and it's semi-open because there's only one pawn on it, and my opponent owns that. So that is what I give way to, having this double stacked pawn. So somebody could say, well, hey, it's a wash. And yeah, that's could be true. Now, I turned on the evaluation scale, or as I jokingly call it, the Richter scale, for the purpose of this video. When I played the game, I did not use that. I like to earn the triple crown. If you're familiar with chess.com, you know what I'm talking about. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, anyway, let's get to this because I want to show you my simple trick, and I'm going to explain it here. So if you look at my position, this is one thing that I want to show you that's important to understand. Okay, so if you notice, my opponent moved this bishop twice. My opponent developed here at g4, and then it moved it. Then I tried to kick it out, and that's what happened, and then it moved it twice. So most games that are evenly matched only last, on average, 42 moves. And so when you move a piece twice, especially in the opening like that, it's almost, I'll emphasize almost, like losing a turn. And a turn can make all the difference in the world, especially when you're evenly matched or something. So that's one thing. When I see this, I just mentally be positive. That's a big advantage. That's a big advantage. Think positively. Okay, now, I attacked this knight and took it. And people might say, well, there was maybe some better moves. And yes, that's true, but here's what I want to show you that may be true. But a better player may see better moves. But now my opponent has, this is my point. My opponent has two double stacked pawns. And this pawn is isolated on the edge of the board, which doesn't do a whole lot for my opponent, which is good for me. One thing I have to watch out for, though, is this rook is notorious for coming down and owning this G file, and then I see the bishop is lined up here, and the Richter scale is shaken up and has my opponent ahead by 0.3, and that's probably right. I mean, I'm bragging about this happening to my opponent, but they do have a little bit of a better position, and I believe it's because of what the arrows are pointing to here. So I'm moving out of the way because if this rook gets over here, I don't want it lined up on my king, and then this happens and I can't retake because you can't put yourself back into check. You know the drill. So let me see, there it is right there. But now with my king out of the way, if that bishop comes down here, I'm free to take. Okay. So here, I was hoping to do an exchange just because my queen wasn't developed and my knight was not developed. And so if this was take, now all of a sudden I do have a knight developed. And so I would have the better of the exchange. In 1800, they realized that, and they're not going to let such things happen. So my point is, let me talk about this for just a second here, though. Okay, so now my opponent has, 3 that double stacked pawns. So I'm loving this. I look for small advantage in this when I play in an 1800 or even a 2000 or whatever. I think I've made videos on 2400s. That's about as far as I can go. 2500s, I start crapping out. So, but now when this happens, I get a slight advantage. I'm just going to keep exchanging. If you see that, say, well, what was the point of that? You just exchanged everything out. I know, but I'm putting faith in look at my pawn structure. I'm putting faith that I'm going to be able to get a really nice pawn structure going, and that my opponent is not going to be able to get a nice pawn structure going. And so I'll just keep working with that down to the end game. So that's my whole point here. So you can see now this is just a single pawn, completely isolated up against the board. This is the kind of thing that I'm shooting for. A better player might say, wait a minute, there was some better moves in there. And I'm sure there was, but I'm just trying to share my secrets. And so again, just trading, but look at my pawn structure, the position. That's what I'm focusing on, is just a little advantage. And so there's a dark squared bishop left by my opponent, so I will take note of that and simply try to stay off the dark squares. Right now my king's on the dark square, and I know that, and I also see a possibility for this kind of thing. So again, just playing good, clean chess here. And so now I defend the knight with that pawn, and it's on a light square. Remember, they've got a dark square bishop, so that's good. Now towards the end game, a lot of people tuck their king away and try to keep him safe in a corner, but that's the exact opposite of what you need to do. You need to get your king towards the center of the board and get him to work. He's got to pull his own weight here. So again, you're going to see me trade down. You say, man, what the hell is the point of that? Because, and you'll see, I'm putting all my stock into the end game. And if you look, the Richter scale is shaken up in my favor now by 0.63. So I already know that the 1800 is not going to let me do some of my tricks I do on some of the lower ELOs, where you do the quick win in 30 moves or something like that. For me, I'm not strong enough to do that to an 1800 player, and that's the point of my video that I'm trying to make is, and I'm sorry I'm taking a long time to get to it, but that's the point, is it's got to be little wins. Right now I've got a pawn on this side, a pawn over here. That is too much for my opponent to keep track of, as we'll see here shortly. So there, I did sacrifice my knight because one of these is going to queen. This bishop can't be everywhere. And early on in the game, I didn't know exactly what ideas I would have. I was planning for future ideas. And a lot of my videos, you hear me talk about this. Even in the opening, I'm like, oh, I'm going to put the rook here. This will be a great future idea. Meaning, I don't know exactly what, but I know that something will come about of it. And lay the foundation for a future idea. Here, I know you can do the queen-king combo, but I take the coward's way out or the easy way out and just get the double queen and, create a box. I just, cut this off and, now there's nowhere to go, and then that's it. So the big takeaway for this is when you're playing, if you're having difficulty beating an 1800, but say you're really good at beating a 1400, but you can't beat an 1800. What I've found is that same old bag of tricks that you normally might use for a 1400 just will not work for an 1800. So look for a slight advantage in the opening and in the mid game, and then just keep trading down. And that's the big takeaway. I hope this helps. If it does, leave a comment, helps me to make more of these videos. And always, I demand, or not, have a great day. Thanks for watching.